Today, I'm going to show you how I make my rice and chicken stew. I love rice, but after my diagnosis of type 2, I could not be eating white rice or brown rice as it elevated my blood sugar levels tremendously. So I had to find ways to enjoy rice without elevating my blood sugar levels tremendously. And that's when I found Shirataki rice and cauliflower rice. Let's get started. This is one way I make my tomato stew or tomato sauce, and for this particular one, we would need 3.5 cups or 28 ounces of crushed tomatoes or blended tomatoes, half a cup of olive oil, one large green bell pepper chopped. It could be any color bell pepper of choice, about 1/4 cup chopped chives, three large purple onions, and it could be any color onions. The amount of onions can also be reduced. I love a lot of onions in my stew, and that's why I'm using three large onions, but any quantity of choice can be used. One medium-sized jalapeno and seeds removed, a thumb-sized ginger chopped, two medium-sized habaneros, and seasoning to taste. I'm using 1 teaspoon onion powder, 1 teaspoon garlic powder, 1 teaspoon crushed black pepper, and 1 teaspoon salt, but any seasoning of choice can be used. Begin by pouring your olive oil into a pan. Pour in your chopped onions. And like I mentioned earlier, it can be chopped, it can be blended. Any preference is fine. Let the onions fry until almost translucent. And if you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell. I post new videos every week. Don't forget to stir occasionally so the onions cook evenly. Once the onions are almost translucent, I include the chopped ginger. It could be blended, it really doesn't matter. I also include my seasonings at this point. I have come to realize that including my seasonings or adding my seasonings to my onion gives it a very pleasant aroma. And so most of my spices and seasonings when I'm cooking, I include around the time when the onions are almost getting translucent. And this is just my preference. It can be done another way, but I prefer it this way because I have come to realize, and it may all be in my head, but I have come to realize that the aroma and the taste of the meal when the spices and the seasoning are put in before the tomatoes are put in is very different, and it's a good different. I have added my chives to the onions as well at this point. If you cannot obtain chives where you are, spring onions or green onions can be used in place of chives. I will also include the jalapeno and the habanero peppers to the onions and the seasonings that are frying. Remember, any other peppers can be used. I simply let it simmer and then I pour in the tomatoes. I stir occasionally so that the ingredients can incorporate and cook evenly. Pour in your tomatoes at this point. Gently combine and let it simmer for another 5 to 10 minutes, or longer if you want it well done for immediate use. I usually do not allow it to cook completely because I use the stew as a base for other stews that I want to make. I'm making this smaller batch for the purposes of this video, but I usually make the stew in larger batches and store them for future use. This is the type of stew I use for some of my rice recipes as well as my pasta and noodles recipes. If I was storing it, I would be done. But because I'm going to use it for a recipe for immediate consumption, I'm including the bell peppers. I only allow it to simmer for about a minute or two because I like my vegetables crunchy in my stews. Aside that, I don't like overcooking my food because even though cooking kills many of the microbes that might have contaminated the food, at the end of the day, cooking also damages the chemical structure of the nutrients to some degree. So trying not to overcook it goes a long way to preserving many of the nutrients. That being said, even though cooking damages the chemical structure of nutrients to a certain degree, a lot or plenty of the nutrients are left after cooking. For our rice, add 2 tablespoons of olive oil in a frying pan or any pot of choice. Include 1 cup riced cauliflower. This could be the already made cauliflower rice bought in the store or homemade cauliflower rice. It really doesn't matter. And if you want to make your cauliflower rice at home, I will put a link in the description box below so you can check it out if you have not checked it out yet. I'm including half a teaspoon onion powder, half a teaspoon garlic powder, and half a teaspoon black pepper powder with a pinch of salt to taste. But any seasoning of choice can be used. Another way this can be done is when fresh onions, fresh garlic, fresh ginger are fried in the olive oil until translucent, and then the cauliflower rice is put in, sprinkled with salt to taste. That process also makes it taste very wonderful. Combine and fry for about 3 to 5 minutes. I'm now going to use my base stew to make my mushroom and chicken stew. I'm including mushrooms, cauliflower leaves, and chicken to this recipe. Any vegetables of choice can be used. Any quantity or amount of mushrooms and cauliflower leaves can be used. It solely depends on preference. But for this meal, I'm using 1 cup mushrooms, 1 cup cauliflower leaves, and some baked chicken. I'll put a link to how I season and bake my chicken in the description box below. After the vegetables and the stew or the sauce are combined, let it simmer for a minute or two on medium to low heat. I usually bake my chicken in large quantities and freeze them. So anytime I need to use chicken, all I have to do is to pull them out of the freezer and thaw them. Shirataki rice can be used in the same manner. All you have to do is pour it out of the bag, rinse it, and it's ready for use. Add 2 tablespoons of olive oil to your pan. Pour in your shirataki rice. You can fry some onions and garlic or ginger or any seasoning of choice in the oil before the rice is poured in. In that case, you don't have to include the powdered seasoning. Include your seasoning. I'm using half a teaspoon of onion powder, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of black pepper, and a pinch of salt to taste. Stir fry and combine your seasoning and the shirataki rice. Keep stir frying for about 2 to 3 minutes. And just like that, you are done. I hope you have enjoyed preparing these rice recipes with me. I surely have. If you did enjoy it, don't forget to leave me a thumbs up, comment, and share to anybody who may need it. And until next time, remember to be beautiful, be bold, be true to yourself and to others. Stay healthy and always be you.